Hey, so there's this news going around. Scientists mapped every single neuron in a fruit fly's brain. Then they ran it on a computer, and this digital fly, it walked, groomed itself, and navigated toward food. Like an actual fly just running inside a machine. Now I know what you're thinking right now. Okay, cool science project. But why should I care about a fruit fly? Here's why. The second you hear this news, one question fires off automatically inside your head. You literally cannot stop it. If they can copy a fly's entire brain, what's stopping them from copying a human brain someday? There it is. That question has been sitting in philosophy books for centuries, but now, for the first time, it actually feels real. Today, we're starting with a fly, traveling through neuroscience and somehow ending up asking what it means to be you. Sound like a stretch? It's not. Stick with me because this story will genuinely change how you see yourself. Okay, so first, let's get the actual science straight. There's a lot of hype, and I want to give you the real facts. In 2024, a landmark paper dropped in Nature, one of the world's most prestigious science journals, all about a fruit fly's brain. Scientists had mapped the complete wiring diagram of an adult female fruit fly's brain. Every neuron, every connection, the whole thing. We're talking 139, 255 neurons and roughly 50 million chemical synapses. All the connections inside one tiny fly brain. Let that sink in. For reference, a human brain has about 86 billion neurons. So we're a long, long way from mapping that. But a fly? Done. This kind of complete map is called a connectome, a full wiring diagram of how every neuron connects to every other neuron. Think of it like Google Maps, but instead of streets and highways, you're mapping every signal pathway inside a living brain. Here's where it gets really interesting. Another team took that wiring map and built a computational simulation based entirely on its structure. They wanted to test, if you just feed in the brain structure, can you predict how neurons actually fire? The answer? Mostly yes. And then in 2026, a company called Eon Systems took it one giant step further. They connected the brain model to a virtual fly body. That digital fly walked through a simulated world, groomed itself when it got dirty, and moved toward food. Driven by real brain wiring. Does that blow your mind a little? Because it should. We literally took a biological brain and ran it on a computer. Now, important caveat. Eon Systems was clear this is very much a work in progress. A first step, not a finished product. The model uses simplified neuron rules. It doesn't capture hormones, learning, or internal state. A real fly is way more complex than this. But here's the key insight. Even a simplified copy of the brain's wiring was enough to produce recognizable, lifelike behavior. That's huge. So let me ask you something directly. Is this digital fly actually alive? What do you think? Be honest. If something walks like a fly, grooms like a fly, and searches for food like a fly, at what point does it become a fly? Your gut probably says no, because the real fly is biological. It's alive. The digital one is just code running on hardware. But look closer. Both process information through the same wiring structure. Both respond to inputs with recognizable, consistent outputs. So, what's actually different? This is where neuroscience and philosophy crash into each other. Hard? Because the question becomes, what does alive actually mean? Is it movement? The digital fly moves. Is it response to stimuli? It responds. Memory? That's where the simulation starts to fall short. And the scientists themselves ask this question. If we replicate behavior, have we replicated the creature, or just its shadow? Think about it this way. If I perfectly copied every move you made today, every gesture, every word, would that copy be you? No, right? There's something missing. Everyone feels it. But nobody can quite put their finger on what that something actually is. Is it consciousness? The felt sense of experience, like the feeling of being you from the inside? That invisible something no connectome can capture. Yet, and this brings us somewhere bigger. A question that philosophers have been wrestling with for decades, long before any digital fly existed. What if the thing we call self, the feeling of being you, is just a pattern? A very specific, very complex pattern of connections. Okay, I want to take you somewhere uncomfortable. It's a thought experiment philosophers have been using for about 40 years. Ready? It's called the brain in a vat. Once you hear it, you will not stop thinking about it. Fair warning. Here's the setup. Imagine surgeons remove your brain from your body and place it in a tank full of life-preserving nutrients. Then a supercomputer connects to every single nerve ending and sends perfectly simulated signals. Sight, sound, touch, smell, all of it. From inside that brain's perspective, but from your perspective, nothing is different. You're sitting right here, living your normal life. But you're not. You're floating in a tank. The world you see is entirely fabricated. Your entire reality is just electrical signals. Wait, does that sound familiar? Yeah, this is literally what The Matrix is about. That movie pulled this idea straight from philosophy. Philosopher David Chalmers actually wrote a paper called The Matrix as Metaphysics. He argued the Matrix scenario is philosophically serious, not just sci-fi. But the original formulation comes from Hilary Putnam, a Harvard philosopher who laid this out formally in 1981. His argument goes much deeper. Putnam's question wasn't just, could this happen? His question was, can we even know it's not already happening right now? That's the scary part. Think about it. What evidence do you have right now, from your own experience, that what you're perceiving is actually real? Seriously, take a second. What would you say? Everything you know about reality came through your senses, and your senses can be fooled. This is the skeptical argument. It has a very clean, very brutal logic. Want to hear it? Here it is, step by step. If you truly know anything about reality, like that you're holding your phone right now, you must also know you're not in a vat. But you can't know that. You genuinely cannot rule it out. So, according to this logic, you don't know anything. Ouch. Now, Putnam didn't stop there. He tried to fight back against his own thought experiment, and his counter-argument is genuinely wild. He said if you were born in a vat and lived there your whole life, the word brain in your mind wouldn't mean real brains. It would mean your simulated version of brains. So when you think, I am a brain in a vat, you're not actually talking about real brains. So the statement, I am a brain in a vat, would be self-defeating. The moment it's true, it means something different and becomes false. I know. Your head hurts. That's actually a sign this is working. Philosophy is supposed to make your brain hurt. Okay, so now you've heard about the digital fly and the brain in a vat. Two totally separate topics, right? Or are they? One is cutting-edge 2024 neuroscience. The other is 40-year-old philosophy. But I want to show you they're asking the exact same question. The fly research showed, take the brain's wiring structure, run it, and you get behavior. Consistent, recognizable, lifelike behavior. The brain in a vat asks, give a brain the right inputs, and you get experience. Real feeling, convincing, indistinguishable experience. Both are saying the same thing from different angles. What we call reality and self might fundamentally be about information, not biology. Let me put it more bluntly. Both are poking at the same nerve. Can you replicate experience by replicating structure? Can you? The fly experiment says, maybe yes, at least for behavior. The vat thought experiment says, maybe yes, at least for experience. Now what? What would this mean for a human? If your connectome, your complete brain wiring, could be mapped and copied, would that copy be you? The copy would have your memories, your personality, your reasoning patterns. It would say, I am your name. And it would mean it. But you, the biological you still lying on the table, would also still be there. So which one of you is actually you? This isn't science fiction. The gap between a fly connectome and a human connectome is enormous. But the direction of travel is clear. We used to ask, could this ever happen? Now the question is, what do we do when it does? Because science is moving fast. So here's where we have to make some choices. I'm not going to tell you which answer is right, because honestly, nobody knows. There are 3 serious ways to think about what a human being actually is. Each gives a completely different answer to the copying question. Option 1. You are your information, your memories, personality, values, reasoning patterns. If all of that transfers intact, you transfer. Body is just hardware. Under this view, a perfect digital copy would genuinely be you. Different substrate, same person. Like moving your files to a new hard drive? Does that feel right to you? Pause for a second. Because for a lot of people, honestly, this one actually does feel right. Option 2, you are embodied. You're not just a brain, you're a body with hormones, gut feelings, pain, hunger, touch, and muscle memory. Under this view, a digital copy wouldn't be you. It would be a very convincing impersonator, missing everything that being human actually feels like. Option 3, and this is the most haunting one. You are continuous. You are the unbroken thread of experience from birth until right now. Even a perfect copy made right now wouldn't be you. It starts today, with your memories, but not your continuity. Those are different things. Think about it. If you fell asleep right now and a perfect copy of you woke up instead, would it be you? Really? The copy would feel completely certain it was you. Same memories, same certainty. But the original you never woke up. That's two very different things. None of these answers is obviously wrong. That's what makes this hard. And honestly, that's what makes us human. We can't stop asking. Here's what I want to leave you with. The fruit fly research is not proof that mind uploading is coming tomorrow. It's really not. But it is proof that this question has left the philosophy classroom. It's sitting on a lab bench now, and the clock is ticking. A few years ago, what makes you you was just a dorm room question. Now, neuroscientists are literally testing it in the lab. So, let me ask you one last thing. If your mind could be perfectly copied and kept running forever, would you actually want that? And if that copy believed, completely, absolutely, that it was you, what would that mean for the actual, original, biological you? There's no clean answer here. The fly just walked. The vat is still hypothetical. But the questions? The questions are very, very real. That's a wrap for today. A fly walked inside a computer and it asked us, if the pattern is the same, is the person the same? Until next time.